circling back to my father, I saw what it was like when they had the agency and staff called out, and my mom may have had something planned, and now, she has to cancel her plan. So it's like, I don't want to start where I knew I didn't have the flexibility to be able to like jump in when someone couldn't show up. He was able to receive the care he needed from the ones he loved, and literally till he took his last breath. Unfortunately, like, people who have Medicaid can suffer because agencies may stop taking Medicaid, and then that is going to be a disservice to the people that need it, because a lot of time it's people who may not have the financial means to pay for this service.
Right. I like how you said that. That's another perspective, that the agencies will stop taking Medicaid, and then the people who have Medicaid will be out of an agency. They'll be out of help. Like, that's a big deal, because if they don't have help, then more of the population is going to
in the hospital.
Die. Yeah, exactly.
If a company can't afford to do it, they have to do what's in the best interest. You can have the best heart and your intentions can be so pure, but it's still a business after the end of the day. So when I started, I wanted to start something that I could do on my own. I knew that having an agency where I had to depend on other people wasn't what I wanted to do at first.
So what advice would you give to others who want to start a home health care agency, but they're worried about maintaining their job during the startup phase? Entrepreneurship is so hard, especially when you have to work a full-time job. In today's episode, I will be speaking with Janetta Clayton, the owner of Beyond the Bedside. So it's such a pleasure to have you on the show today. I'm super excited. So you have 17 years of experience as a registered nurse, and you're the owner of Beyond the Bedside, which is a home health care agency that you founded in 2017, which is a long time. We're almost, 10 years? Where you offer case management services, personalized care plans, just to name a few, with in-home care services coming soon. So can you share what inspired you to pursue a career as a registered nurse?
So initially, I wasn't planning to be a registered nurse. I went to school wanting to be a pediatrician. So growing up, I've always, I had to see my doctor all the time. I had allergies, things like that. So I thought I was going to be a pediatrician. I got to college. And then, so my sophomore year, I went back to school to enroll for the semester, and I was told I owed $5,000, and my parents didn't have it. And I called my family members, asking everybody if they had money. Nobody had money, so I had to pack up and go home. And I told my friends, I was like, I'll be back. So I went home. I worked 2 jobs. I worked at the Virginia Employment Commission during the day, and then I also worked as security at night.
At nighttime? Security?
Yes, for Bank of America. But it was their office building. So
at nighttime, ain't that dangerous?
But it was fine. It was it was no money there. It was just the customer service type thing.
Okay, all right.
So I did that, and luckily my dad had co-signed me a credit card at 16. So I had credit history. And then I applied for private student loans. And then my second semester, my sophomore year, I went back to college. I went to Hampton University. And then, so I took out student loans, and then I was like, you know what? I need a career. I need to make sure that when I graduate that I have financial stability, and I make sure that I use this degree. So I emailed admission counselors at med schools, asked them, what do y'all think about, my major in undergrad? And everyone said major in whatever you want, as long as you have your core requisites. And one guy told me major in art. And I was like, okay. So I talked to the nursing school director, kind of got her opinion on it. And back then you could just change your major. So I switched my major to nursing. And I was like, at least while I'm in school, I'll be able to have experience, kind of know if this is something I want to do. And then it'll give me job security and also flexibility. So that's how I ended up becoming a nurse.
What did you major in?
Initially biology, and then I switched to nursing.
Okay, all right. Because I'm gonna say art.
Yeah, no. I was just saying, the guy has said that you can major in art. So, and nursing has been the best decision.
That's good. Yeah. So, I know nursing school is hard. I mean, I see a lot of people I'm in nursing school. I'm trying to get my art, and it's a huge accomplishment. It's not easy. How long do you have to be in school to become a registered nurse?
It depends. So you can go 2 years to get your associate's, or you can go 4 years to get your bachelor's. So I did 4 years and got my bachelor's degree.
Okay.
And then I got my master's in nursing leadership and management, which was 2 years. Well, I did a year and a half, but typically 2 years.
So it was an additional 2 years almost. So but about it was 6 years.
Yeah, but it was like 10 years later when I went back for my master's.
Okay, well that's not bad, because I'm telling you, if I don't go right then and there, I'm not going back.
Right.
You know. So for some businesses, we create businesses based on the industry that we're in, and based on what we see that's missing, right? Or what we need more of that we don't see in the industry that we're serving. So how did you come to the realization that you wanted or needed to start a home health business while working full time?
So my father was diagnosed with vascular dementia in 2009. He was 55 years old. And so I knew that he needed help. But as a family, we decided that he was going to receive care to end of life in the home. And so during that process, we worked with different home health agencies. He was a veteran, so we got services through them. And then there was also a program where our family could be paid to care for him. So after he passed away in 2016, I decided in 2017 I wanted to kind of help other people navigate the healthcare system, because at this time I was on the other side. Like, not only did I provide care, I was the one also helping to kind of coordinate care. And so that's where like the idea of like the business coming up to kind of like help people navigate home care services.
Okay, so he was diagnosed in 2009, but he lived until what year?
2016.
Wow. So do you think that contributes to him being able to be in home where he got the care for, instead of going into a facility?
Yes, because I've worked in home agencies. I've worked in home health, and statistically it shows that like when people are in a home environment, they tend to do better because it's that familiarity, and then you take them into like a non-familiar environment and there's like a rapid decline.
Right.
So he was able to receive the care he needed from the ones he loved, and literally till he took his last breath.
Right. So I think that's important, because I seen a report that came out that stated that seniors, they prefer in-home care.
Right.
So to hear that, wow, that adds time to their life. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's not just, we going into a facility. It's depressing. My grandfather, he had to go temporarily, and he did not feel good about it, So I get it. At home is familiar. Right. You know what I mean? So with all the services that y'all offer, right? Where you assist individuals and their families with accessing personal care services at home through Medicaid waivers, can you expound on how you assist them with this particular service? What are you doing for them when you do this?
So Medicaid has what they call long-term support services, where if you qualify for it, then you can receive personal care services in the home. And you can either do that through the hiring of family members, or not family members or people that you know, and it's called consumer directed, or you can do it through an agency, which is traditional, agency hires and identify someone. Right. So what we do right now is focus on individuals who want to kind of manage that. And so we come in, we do an assessment, we get an idea of how much care they would need, like how many hours per week. And then we help the individual or their authorized representative kind of be what we call an employer of record, which means that they are the ones who employ the attendants that they want to provide care. And we kind of help them know what it's like to be an employer, kind of be able to manage their care, right? And just kind of know, what type of support they need in the home.
Okay, so so instead of them getting an agency, they're becoming basically kind of like an agency, but not all the way. Right. So they manage their care, their hours. Is that a lot? Is that more work for them to do versus hiring an agency who already kind of can come in with the plan and just bring in someone to help?
It's individualized. It kind of depends. Like some people, they prefer the personability of someone that they know, like someone that they're comfortable with. They don't want a stranger in their home, or especially like during COVID, it was even more popular, this model of care, just because you knew who was coming into your house. Right. And you knew, a lot of times they live in the home already and they can just kind of get compensated. Right. So I don't think it's a lot of work because, they don't really have to do too much besides to approve the time.
Okay.
But with the agency, again, it gives them flexibility. Like if they don't have anyone, then we can provide someone to offer that service.
So being an entrepreneur is so hard. There's always a new problem that you need to solve within your business, and it's always rooted to how can I make more money so that I can grow my business. But trust me, I know it's hard because of the many hats that you wear within your business every single day. I've helped countless business owners to solve this very problem with what I call profit, cash flow, and revenue drivers. These 3 key drivers are major to make your business move. This is truly the cheat code to making more money within your business. And if you see this working for you, schedule a call with me today by clicking the link below, within the description, or the comments. See you there. So what do you think? I know it's based on who you're speaking to, but being in the home healthcare field, what do you think makes more sense? Do you think a home health agency is better or someone in the home, or is really just based on that preference?
I think it's just based on the preference and the need. When you have an agency, sometimes you may not have consistency. And if you have someone that you actually know, you can at least be consistent. So I think it's good to have both. And we're fortunate that we can offer both. So, if someone, like I said, like the person that they were using to help can't no longer do it, then like we can find someone. And ideally we would like it to be consistent, but if not, it's okay. But I think it's the consistency that they appreciate the most.
That makes a lot of sense because they know it's dependable.
Right.
Hey, they're going to be here. So I heard you say Medicaid waiver. What is a Medicaid waiver for those who don't know?
So a Medicaid waiver in Virginia, there's 3 different types. You have what we call Cardinal Care, or it used to be called CCC Plus. Typically, that's for people who are 65 and older, and they need personal care services in the home, or otherwise they would be like in a skilled nursing facility. And then you have people who have developmental disabilities, and then they have 2 different waivers. One is community living, and then family and individual support living waiver. And they're the same. It just kind of depends on the services that are offered within the waiver. So community living, you think of like group homes, going to day support, things like that. And then family, individual support waivers, they have other benefits that they're attributed to. But all 3 waivers can have personal care services in the home.
Okay, that makes sense. I've heard a lot of the community waivers. With practices, they like have their own home and offer that service. I think they be getting it like maybe those who have like disabilities or do they call it higher acuity?
Higher acuity, yes. Yeah. So like when you hear a lot of people have like group homes, they have the community living waiver through the developmental disability waiver.
Okay, wow. So these waivers cover a range of different services. So that's good, that's good. So in your experience, what is one important element that every care plan should have?
I think they should all be personalized, person-centered care plan, meaning it's individual to that person. So some people may need just more support with like, we call them instrumental activities of daily living. So that could be like shopping, house cleaning, running errands. Some people need more support with activities of daily living. So that may be like the bathing, the, getting ready, things like that. So I just think each care plan has to be person-centered to like that person.
Right. So each care plan should be individualized and personalized.
Right.
So what common mistakes have you seen in care plans, if any?
Common mistakes.
Or something that you come across like, why is this here? This should be like this. Do you see that often in the industry?
Not necessarily, because as a nurse, I go in and do the assessment. Okay. Or, so I'll make sure that their care plan is specific to them. Now, if it's something that, that like a caregiver who isn't licensed should be doing, then Virginia does have like certain things that me as a nurse, I can train you who don't have a license on doing. But if there is something that isn't appropriate, then like I make sure that their attendant that they hire does not do that. Now, if someone in their family or somebody want to do it, that's fine. But the person that's actually getting paid through the waiver, they cannot do that service because it's not appropriate. Okay,
now this is what I will ask you. What is a care plan? Like what is it? Because when I'm listening, I'm like, okay, this is great, because I'm an analytical person. So I'm thinking paperwork and, so what is a care plan? How is that done? Is it just a schedule, or how does that work?
So for Medicaid with the waiver, there's like a form. We call it a DMAS 99 form. And it outlines what they need help with. Like the top part would be activities of daily living. So again, the bathing, the dressing, the transferring.
Gotcha.
And then you have like bowel functioning, like if they need help using the restroom. Then you have another section that talks about if they need help with like mobility. And then there's another section with the IADLs where do they need help with shopping, money management, things like that. So you kind of check with that, like you check off what the person needs, and then me and the family can kind of decide like the schedule. Do they want to do ADLs in the morning, things like that. But it's very like specific, like what that person needs help with.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. I'm picturing that in my head now. I'm seeing those questions, and then just kind of detail out a plan. This is what we need to do. He has this issue, or she has this issue. This is what we need to do. This is the protocol for that.
Right.
I got it?
Yeah, you got it.
Okay, all right, I got a little bit of it. So can you share what it was like working for other home health companies? How did those experiences shape your view of the industry?
I think you see like the need, like people just like needing help in the home and sometimes not always having the resources. Like I would come in as the nurse, so I'm just coming in, doing an assessment, maybe checking their medications, giving an infusion or something like that. But then you see that they need so much more support.
Right.
And also from my own experience, like I've seen how my dad needed support, and I can just tell in the industry, like people want to stay at home and like age at home and receive like the good care that they need, but sometimes they just don't have the support system. So I think that was like the biggest thing. Like you go in and like you see people and you just see like they really need support, or like this support is really helping them. This support is really giving them the care that they need. And like I've done hospice, I've done, the traditional home health. So it's all, the spectrum of like getting services in the home.
Right.
And it's a beautiful thing. And sometimes staffing can be bad, just because there's always more demand than supply.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I've come across that a whole lot in the industry. The staffing right now is terrible, so I think that the job that y'all do is so important, and it's a lot. Okay, mentally that you got to hold on to, from our conversation earlier. Some things you just got to do. It's like, hey, we doing this. Y'all put a lot of care and love into what y'all doing. And to be in the industry for 17 years as a registered nurse, and now the owner since 2017 of your company, to be going out there to be able to show that, hey, we're in the community, we care more, we're providing the service. It just shows your level of commitment. So I just want to give you your flowers. I think y'all doing amazing. It's a lot of work. Y'all have a lot of tasks that y'all have to do, and it's not easy, okay? It's like raising children,
It is,
but they grown,
right?
So when you work for these other companies, right, as a registered nurse, did you feel supported when you work for them, and did you feel valued as a nurse?
Yes and no. Some agencies didn't always have supplies. Like sometimes you need supplies, and they just would not have it. Some agencies you did feel very supported. Like, you can call on like your supervisor, or like call and get like a doctor's opinion, or, something like that. So I guess it kind of like depends on like the agency specific. So yes and no.
Yes and no. Okay. That's important because a lot of nurses, they working for different companies or however, and they don't have the support that they need, or probably feel appreciated. So that's important. So I know you said a little bit, but what were some things that you saw that they valued within you while you were there?
My communication, like I'm very, I speak up. I'm an advocate for like my clients, and I think they appreciate that. Or like, me just coming in and seeing what could be like better, or what we doing good, what we're doing like bad. Also always wanting to continuously learn and make sure my skill set is at the current level. It's always changing. So I think they really appreciate that. And then like just that my commitment, like if I said I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna be there, I'm gonna get it done. Like they knew I was dependable.
So you took all these qualities and put it into your baby, your business.
Yes.
So those are important qualities as an entrepreneur, because you can't make it in business without being dedicated, being committed, doing what you're saying you're going to do, because now people know, like, and they trust you. Oh, you have a really good reputation. We know that you're going to get this taken care of, you know? So that's cool. So with these companies now that you work for, and you've seen firsthand how they handle patient care, are there any differences in how they approach care plans or communications versus how you and your company approach care plans and communication?
Yes, I feel like sometimes the companies wouldn't include the individual and ask them, what their preferences, what they need. They will go by, sometimes you have discharge orders or like just doctor's orders, which is fine. You're supposed to follow those. But also, talk to the patient, kind of see what they need. Also, it's family, right? Like, even though this person is the patient, you still have like the other people in the family that also is providing care. So kind of making sure you get their input. And so that's what we do, is everything is inclusive. Like, our goal is educate, empower, and enrich lives one family at a time. And so the family is all inclusive, and who you call family is important, whether that's like blood family or like a friend or something. So I think it's very important to make sure you include all those people that can care for the individual and make sure that, again, it's personalized, that they get the care that they need. And sometimes agencies wouldn't do that. They were just like very black and white, follow what the doctor says, like that's it, not really listening to other people who are also a part of the care team.
Nowadays it's different. I went to a home healthcare conference yesterday, and they said, well, the patients, they'll work with an agency 1, 2, and 3 and come to agency 4, which is me, and then they complain on me because they frustrated with agency 1, 2, and 3. So now they not playing that. They're looking to see if you are, showing that care and providing those services to them. So I don't know how long they're going to be getting away with that anymore. So what do you find in the industry, in the home healthcare industry, that's the most challenging part?
Well, I think when you deal with Medicaid, everything, it's their way or the highway. So that can be challenging, like some of their like rules and regulations, and how it's not always ideal, but you have to follow it. So
look, so that brings me to this. So when I was at this healthcare conference yesterday, they got this 80-20 rule. Well, they got this 80-20 rule. So 80% of the wages from Medicaid has to go to the caregiver, amongst other services. And then, you keep the other 20%, right? But in that 80%, that's not rent for your location. That's not bookkeeping. That's not your overhead. Your overhead. So all that is getting cut out. So now if your operating expenses is 30%, well, the 20 is gone. You're in the hole. You have to have so much volume to get ahead. And when I say so much, I mean so much for you to even be profitable.
Right.
So what's your thoughts on the 80-20 rule?
I think it's not realistic. I think it's going to be hard. So then you have to have that balance between like private pay and Medicaid. Or unfortunately, like people who have Medicaid can suffer because agencies may stop taking Medicaid. And then that is going to be a disservice to the people that need it. Because a lot of time it's people who may not have the financial means to pay for this service. But if a company can't afford to do it, they have to do what's in the best interest. You can have the best heart and your intentions can be so pure, but it's still a business after the end of the day.
Right.
So
I like how you said that. That's another perspective, that the agencies will stop taking Medicaid, and then the people who have Medicaid will be out of an agency. They'll be out of help. Like, that's a big deal, because if they don't have help, then more of the population is going to
in the hospital.
Die. Yeah, exactly. They don't have no help, no one there to care for them, because they won't. That is such a good way to look at that, because they want to. What's the rates? Is it 1983 in Virginia for the Medicaid rates, or in this area? The reimbursement rates.
It is. I think it's around like 1983. I think so. It's close to that.
Okay, so guess what? In January of 2025, they're going to take the wages. The minimum wage is going to be $13.50.
See?
Yeah, where's the money at?
Right, exactly.
I don't know if they doing this. They saying, agencies may have taken advantage of some of, but it's terrible. And I
the
feel for the
is
people.
going to be impacted negatively.
Yeah, they are. They really are, man.
Mm-hmm.
So what has been the most rewarding part of your work with Beyond the Bedside so far?
The people, like the families, like I hear all the time, thank you, for what you do. Like, I appreciate you, like making sure that people have access to the services they need in the home and like they feel safe. So I think it's the people when they tell me thank you and like, you're so nice, or, like, again, they can depend on me. If you ask me a question, if I don't know it, I'll get the answer. I follow up. So it's just being rewarded to like, for the families and like how appreciative they are.
Yeah,
so
that's
that always
rewarding.
makes me smile.
Yeah, that would make anybody smile. Now you see your work like, okay, it's working. I'm making a difference, little by little. So that's good. So how do that continue to motivate you each day to continue going?
Because I think about my own family and like, what we needed to keep my dad at home and making sure that I help others do the same for their loved ones.
Right.
And I work a lot with the developmental disability population. And, like that can be a lifetime, like taking care of a grown adult because they just can't. And so being able to like have a family and know that, they can be supported with what they need makes me want to keep doing this and keep growing and do, other stuff to support the population.
That's good. I like that too. So that's exciting. You like, I'm a ball of joy. I'm ready, So while we're talking about that, what are you most excited about expanding your services to include in-home care? So how do you feel about your expansion?
I'm excited, a mix of excitement and nervousness,
Yeah. It's normal. It's natural. Yeah.
It is, but I have a vision of like where it can go. And so just to know where I started from and like where I'm at and where I'm going and like my reason behind it just makes me, happy.
Right.
But I'm most excited about like the growth and the expansion. And I feel like I built a really solid foundation that can build and have like different branches.
Yeah, I like that. So what advice would you give to others who want to start a home health care agency, but they're worried about maintaining their job during the startup phase?
I think take your time, don't try to do everything at once. There's phases, and don't take on more than what you can handle. But just like be patient and always know quality over quantity.
Quality over quantity. Be patient. Take your time. And don't take on more than what you can handle. I'm doing good. I'm remembering these things. That's good. Those are some good tips that you could lead them with. Now, when you look back, what would you do differently when starting a business while working full time?
What would I do differently? I don't think I would do anything different because I did that. Like I took my time.
Right.
So when I started, I wanted to start something that I could do on my own. I knew that having an agency where I had to depend on other people wasn't what I wanted to do at first because unfortunately everybody doesn't have the same work ethic.
Right.
Everyone isn't going to treat your business the way that you're going to treat it. And then circling back to my father, I saw what it was like when they had the agency and staff called out and my mom may have had something planned and now, she has to cancel her plan. So it's like, I don't want to start where I knew I didn't have the flexibility to be able to like jump in when someone couldn't show up. So I was like, I wanted to start somewhere. It was just me. I could set the tone. I could set the foundation. And I did that. And so I wouldn't do anything different.
Okay. Well, that sounds good. So you really planned this thing out. So that's important for people to understand planning because starting a business, sometimes you jump in and like, dang, what did I jump into?
Right.
I didn't plan nothing. And so now you got to plan while you're already in it. But just planning and making sure, hey, I have these goals set and this is what I'm trying to accomplish. Boom.
Right.
And, just take your time. There's no need in rushing because a lot of people don't know this. When you grow fast, you fail faster. Sometimes slow and steady is really good. A lot of times. Yeah. A lot of times. So from what you just told me, what lessons have you learned from those experiences?
What lessons have I learned? That you can't do everything at one time. Like sometimes I can be very ambitious and like I want to like do all these things, and it's like, okay, wait a minute, just one thing at a time.
Yeah.
Like what they say, the jack of all trades, master of none.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
I've learned to just like focus on one thing, do that, and then build upon it. So just again, taking your time and just one step at a time, and it's okay, you know. And I was fortunate too that because I'm a nurse, I had a career. I didn't have to go all in and like, you know, just try and like make it work. It was like I can take my time because it's not my income, you know, like I don't focus on like the money because I have my 9 to 5 per se that kind of funded my lifestyle.
Right. You know, that's important because a lot of times someone will have a 9 to 5, but they're rushing to get out the 9 to 5 that they can't really plan and get started in their business because they like, okay, I have to go now. They'll wait till like the last minute. So they rushing, but you don't have that issue. You're not frustrated. Nobody's you're just taking your time and you're able to build it to where it's at now. So I think that's great. And I appreciate you for coming on today and to talking with me for a little bit about your story. So thank you again.
Oh, you are so welcome. Thank you for having me.
Of course.